And if this is your first time here, I'm glad you found this series. We explore the right of disposition, the legal right to control what happens to your body after death, and how to make sure your wishes are followed exactly the way you intend. This episode focuses on Minnesota, where the law gives you strong control over your final arrangements, as long as you take the time to make it official in writing. In Minnesota, you can decide who will handle your final arrangements by signing a written directive for the disposition of remains. Under Minnesota statutes 149A.80, this document lets you name an agent called a representative who has full authority to make your decisions about your funeral, burial, or cremation. Once that directive is properly signed and dated, your chosen representative's decisions overrides everyone else's, even your family members. This is the simplest and most powerful way to ensure your wishes are honored your way. If you do not leave a written directive, Minnesota law determines who has the right to make those decisions. First, the person you legally appointed in your written directive. Second, your surviving spouse or domestic partner. Third, your adult children, a majority if there's more than one. Next, your surviving parents. Then come your adult siblings, followed by your adult grandchildren, grandparents, and finally, your next of kin under Minnesota's succession laws. If no one is available or willing to act, a court or county authority can step in. This hierarchy is outlined in Minnesota Statute 149A.80, and it applies automatically when no written directive exists. In Minnesota, time matters. According to Minnesota Statute 149A.93, if a body is not claimed within 72 hours of death, the person in charge of the body, usually a medical facility, hospital, or coroner, can transfer the remains to the county for disposition. 72 hours is only 3 days. That's a very small window, and it can easily close if your family doesn't know your wishes or can't reach an agreement. Having your directive in place prevents that uncertainty and keeps control in your hands. If you're estranged or no contact with your family, Minnesota's hierarchy still applies by default unless you've documented it otherwise. That means a relative you haven't spoken to in years could legally make your funeral decisions. The only way to prevent that is to sign a written directive naming your chosen representative. Once that document is in place, your family cannot override it, period. Minnesota law does not specifically address chosen names or gender identity in the context of disposition rights. So, if you go by a chosen name or your gender identity differs from your legal paperwork, your written directive is where you can make that clear. Include your name, pronouns, and how you wish to be represented during your services or memorialization. Then make sure your representative and funeral provider both have copies of that directive to ensure your identity is respected exactly as you live it. Before we close, let's talk about a few common mistakes people make when it comes to their final arrangements in Minnesota. First, assuming your spouse or family will just know what you want. Without a written directive, their decisions may not align with your wishes. Second, confusing an advanced healthcare directive with a disposition directive. A healthcare directive covers medical treatment while you're alive, not what happens after death. Third, not updating your document. If your relationships or preferences change, update your directive and redistribute copies. An outdated document can cause conflict or be challenged. Avoiding these mistakes ensures your final wishes are followed smoothly and legally. As always, thank you for watching. I hope this helped you understand how Minnesota handles the right of disposition and why documenting your wishes is one of the most important things you can do for peace of mind. If this information helped you, share it with your family, friends, or anyone living in Minnesota who needs to know their rights. These laws can save families from confusion and conflict during an already emotional time. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more state-by-state episodes in this series. And check out the rest of my Right of Disposition playlist to see how these laws vary across the country. I'm Bella, but this is your life, your legacy, your choice, even after you're gone.